I'm going to do this with my British accent today. Going live. The Hangout is on air. Welcome. So we're live, and we're. I guess Jamie's on his way. He's traveling through cyberspace into the Hangout.
Yeah, he says he has the link, but not the invite.
Well, you know what? If you click in the top space of the Hangout, you'll see the URL that refers specifically to this Hangout screen. Give him that. That should get him right in.
Will do.
So here we are, beautiful Friday morning in sunny Southern California, wherever you guys are. Dennis, it looks like, if I can see properly through the window above your head, it looks like you've got some sun in Seattle.
It's a little overcast right now. It may burn off. Marine air.
Okay. Gina?
Sun in Pennsylvania.
What's going on there in the big PA?
Lots of sunshine, about 80 degrees, perfect weather here.
Cool.
It's a 10.
And Ian, hailing from San Francisco, correct?
That's right. I'm just going to put my A's hat back on for you, for those folks in LA.
Oh, you better take that off. I gotta go.
But I got the flag too, so I brought backup.
Wait. I'll be right back.
That's funny. And then we have Suchi, who's a little shy today, all the way from New York, Brooklyn, New York, and then Joanne just coming on. Loving the purple highlights, Joanne.
Oh, they're cute.
Good morning.
You're killing me, Tim.
And we got the sound effects too, Tim. Great.
You know, I was going to get a hat, but I thought the sound effects would be much better with a two-game lead.
Yeah, and a wonderful win last night for you guys.
You know, I just don't feel good about the playoffs, though. We lost our best pitcher, and the other two aces aren't pitching like aces. We're lucky to be where we are. I don't even know how they do it.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Mariners.
Yeah, the Mariners, you know, it's going to be a three-team AL West in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. And a one-game playoff. The Angels will be out in one if it's them. That's my fear.
Well, they're trying to save Felix for the playoff. They've sort of
he's
teed up.
He's unscoffable.
All right, Ian, I'm going to try Jamie one more time here. It looks like I didn't have him in the pages circles. I just added him to be sure.
Yeah, I'm working with him and Scott Scharf to have him come on, so I sent them the link and told them to start coming in. So let's let you guys know that I'm having a lot of fun here. I even brought my Xero beach ball.
Oh,
nice.
Awesome. That's cool.
So that's my other prop. I got a few props here. He says he's in, but he can't share his video. He says he can see what's going on.
Well, that means he's just watching. He needs to join the actual live Hangout, though. So I just sent him another invite. Tell him to check if his chat popped up. Pages circles. I just added him to be sure.
Yeah, I'm working with him and Scott Scharf to have him come on. So we got to replay the link and told him to start coming in.
Looks like the feedback's coming from you.
So let's let you guys know I'm having a lot of fun here. I brought my Xero beach ball.
Wow, it's like a time warp.
What would be really cool is if you could bounce that beach ball over to one of us and we could tap it around.
But he can't share his video. I'll have to mail those beforehand. I didn't quite get the memo.
He's just watching. He needs to join the actual live Hangout, though.
I feel like Marty McFly.
Somebody's replaying our video.
I think we could bet on the Angels and know the result, and then go back.
Stays in circles. I just added him to be sure.
Yeah, I'm working with him.
Stacy, you got the video playing somewhere on your screen. Make sure it's not playing, because then we get the feedback. All right, cool. So I imagine we'll have Jamie in here in a minute. Jamie, if you're watching and listening, you're in watching, but I posted the link. Refresh the page, and you'll see the link that you can click on to join us in the live panel here. And let me try the invite one more time, one other way.
I'm sorry, that's all the time we have.
Time's
Good
up.
morning. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Glad you could join us. I'm going to send them a quiet invitation.
While you're doing that, Ian, how is the project job costing going in payroll? It's been a little while. I'm gonna have some team members. One of them certified in Xero on my team. How is the project costing going?
I'm going to say that I have absolutely no idea, but I can find that out for you because Ollie is in the office coming back from Australia literally tomorrow, and he'll be able to give me the details on that. We currently are constructing it with using Magnetiles here, like I have, so we got a little bit further to go.
Okay, great.
I don't honestly know, but I'll find out for you, and I'll get back and email the group.
No, because I know I have a bunch of your brochures and all that from. Oh God, I'm going to draw a blank right now. Not Karen, but anyhow, project costing is one of the important things for one of my entertainment clients. They like to see how they're doing as far as gross profit.
Yep.
The reporting, bar none, you guys are like off the charts. It looks amazing. And so the other piece would just be how are we doing on pricing, because a lot of them are afraid of losing their shirts when they start bidding on these things.
Got it.
And entertainment people love spending money beyond what they really have and should be spending. So, and so I have to crack the whip with them all the time, or have my staff do that, and it's harder to determine like how they've overspent. So, do you guys also have, or is it something in Horizon that or maybe it's just partnerships with budgeted timesheets? Like I know we're using T-Sheets right now that works with you guys.
Yep.
One of the things they don't have is they don't have a little alarm that says, stop, don't work anymore on this project because you've already hit your budget threshold. And then, because what we're trying to do is go to the client, once we've hit the budget or coming close to it, we go to the client and say, hey, we need to look at this right now. Ooh.
So Jamie knows more about the partnerships across that, but however, Harvest is another one that you can use. I guess the question comes down to which one, is there a particular one you're looking for? Because there's a whole slew of them that are available. I want to say there's something like 6 to 8 of them. Okay. But if there's a particular one that you like, let us know, because then we can also approach them and be pretty direct on getting them across and working with us.
Okay, I'll look at Harvest, and you guys have ideas, but Jamie's on. I don't want to take the time.
Okay, Jamie made it. Yay!
Yeah.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, good. At least that works.
I guess you can hear me because you're responding.
Yes. Excellent.
Excellent.
Sorry
I did as best I could to stall for you, Jamie.
You'd wonder if I worked for a technology company.
No problem. No, well, hey, look, it's Google, so it's it's anybody's guess if and how it's going to work. So
I'm actually a fair user of Google Plus, and I keep all my photos there, and I use it. And we actually have Chrome boxes all throughout our office and use Hangouts. So I don't know what happened there, but
well, I think what it was is we have to be in each other's circles. So my page had to have you in its circles, and you had to have the page in your circles. So that had to be matched up in order for it to get you in here. I think that's what it comes down to. There has to be reciprocal circling.
All right. Well, I'm in your circle. That's a good sign.
And maybe some crop circles while we're at it,
right.
Because I love aliens.
Me too. Let's talk about aliens.
I think that would be a better topic.
Jamie, I was just telling them the secret sauce of Xero, and we do our product design using Magnetiles.
I like it.
And that's where the genius comes from. Don't bring back the Anaheim drum. I
Mine's louder.
Oh no. Listen, we're not. This is for nerds only. We're not allowed to talk sports.
We weren't. We were just.
I'm gonna do my egregious product promotion right here. He's gonna leave this here for the entire duration of the next hour.
I actually love that. I want a beach ball. Will you send me a beach ball?
I think we could see about getting some beach balls to folks on the hangout.
Nice.
I think I want to work for Sarah.
I want to be able to tap that around while I'm doing my hangouts every week.
We brought off the summer camp last year.
I want to bounce my Xero ball. Every ball must bounce. That's Don Brolin said.
She's funny.
So, and you know what? We need some Xero mugs too. I'm drinking from my Smart Sheet mug this morning.
That's good
Like
stuff.
usual. Just recent got my T-Sheets mug, and ooh, I wish I had it. Eric sent me as a gift our first ever schoolofbookkeeping.com mug with my picture on it, so it feels a little weird drinking out of it. But I'm convinced I'm never going to need another coffee mug ever, and I'm never going to need to buy another coffee mug ever again. I have a coffee mug from everyone, which is awesome. It's going to become a shrine. Hopefully when I leave this planet, one thing I'll leave behind is the shrine of coffee mugs from every vendor that I've ever worked with or whose product I've ever used. It'll be awesome.
Collector's items.
You know what you should do is you should put your picture at the bottom of the mug so when you drink out of it, it freaks you out.
Well, you know what's funny is my friend who printed up a bunch of T-shirts for me a couple of years ago. You know, he gave some extras to his wife, and it had a tweet that I had put out there on Twitter that had gotten a lot of activity. So it had, I just took the embed code from Twitter and put that into an image basically and gave it to him to print on a shirt. So it had my image from Twitter with me and my little dog, and so his wife was wearing that, but she was wearing like an oversized one, almost as like a nightgown, and then she said it freaked her out a little to be going to sleep with a picture of me on her T-shirt in bed with her husband at night. So he said, I hope you don't mind, but I scratched out the part with your picture on it, and I'm like, it's totally fine. So this is what happens when we put promotional gear out there, especially with our own likeness on it. It's just a bad idea.
We were gonna make Jamie bobbleheads and put them on every desk, so that way everyone could wonder what would Jamie say to that when we're doing things around the office.
Well, not only that, but then that's a brilliant idea because then it feels like the boss is always looking at you. So like you better stay busy.
And nodding. That's great.
The secret's out now.
I love that. All right, so quick rant before we get into the main event. I started telling you guys before we went live, and I don't know how many of you have ever used Hub Pages, which is it's a long form blog, which and it's just that, and it's really not a blog, it's a hub now, and so you're creating a hub around a particular topic and filling it in with all kinds of content. And a typical blog should be like 300 to 600 words, but Hub Pages, they're asking for you to put in like at least 1,250 words, and they want images and videos, and you can put in, they have little sort of widgets you can put in to take polls and do all kinds of other things. And it's really cool. So I started writing on one. I created a Hub Pages hub for myself, and the first one they approved no problem. The second one, they have an approval process, like your first 5 have to get approved, I guess, so they can feel like your writing is up to standard with with their standards. And this is the frustration I have whenever you're dealing with these big sort of companies. I've had similar experiences with Google itself. They're going to shut my Hangout down one day because of all the stuff I talk about them. But
Did you know my wife works at Google?
really? I love Google, and you can too for the low price of $5.95 a month. Google Apps for Business.
Hopefully she's not watching this Hangout.
So
She works at HR. It's okay.
okay. Well, all right. Well, she can help all the employees find other jobs when I crush Google. So in typical fashion, what happens is they give me like an exception basically. So after their quality assurance review process is complete, it took about 24 hours. This morning I log in. My second hub, they're telling me, is not up to standards, and it actually says please check the reviewer's comments. So I'm like, oh cool, at least they're going to tell me what I did wrong so I can fix it, right? Wrong. They give me a link to this generic list of scores. They didn't tell me what my score was. It just obviously wasn't enough to get it published. And they give me this generic list of scores and all these different descriptions. At least it was clear that they had actually looked at my content closely enough to know that it fit in the informational category rather than the creative writing category. So that much gave me a little more confidence in them. But the bottom line was, if somebody took the time to do this review, they could have at least told me what my score was, and maybe even gone one step further for another 30 seconds and said, hey, by the way, here's what you can do. Here are the areas. Here are the specific reasons why we didn't feel your content was of the quality that we want to see. Because then I could actually address it and do something about it. Meantime, it's like I was saying before we went live, that when Google shut down my AdSense account, it was a similar kind of thing. They just said, we don't like something you're doing. We can't tell you what it is, but you can't publish AdSense on our, in our world anymore. I'm like, okay. So
the statement should have just been, it's not us.
It's a bunch of third graders looking at your stuff.
They might as well have said, your content blows, and go fix it. Because that would have given me the same amount of useful information that I have now in order to figure out what I need to do to improve. That's the thing, and it goes into the bigger picture conversation of, I can't stand when somebody gives me criticism but then doesn't have any suggestions for how or where I can improve. Right? It's like if I go to you and I say, you're ugly, and I just leave it at that, what are you going to do with that? But if I say, look, you're ugly, but you know what, if you fix your hair a little bit or take a shower before you start your day, it might help improve the situation.
That's what I didn't do. I didn't take a shower.
Beth, you should cut and paste this and put it on Hub Pages after.
Yeah, no, I'm going to put the video in there.
Yeah,
I'm going to do it. You can embed videos, so I'm going to put this hangout in there.
The real question is, did you write in gibberish again? Because we told you not to do that.
I have to check, Ian. That may be it.
Yes.
I think I tried to invoke my old, what was it, Pig Latin from when we were kids, where you take like the letters and flip them around and put something at the end of it. I don't remember.
You take the first letter and put it at the end and put an A after it.
AY.
So Igpay Attenlay.
That's right. Okay.
Let's say
Anyway.
Oozray.
Oy vey.
On to more serious and interesting things, because I definitely didn't bring.
But the way this thing's going, I'm going to put on my next outfit.
There you go. Wait, no, I want the whole fireman's uniform then. I want to see the coat.
I'll have to go to the other room to do that.
In fact, I want to see the coat with nothing else on. I want you to flash us.
No, there's
I
one
like the
occasion.
whole fireman thing. That's the putting out fires, and yeah, you can go with that.
Thanks, Gina.
Ian puts out fires at Xero. There are no fires at Xero. Everything runs perfectly there.
Actually, just so you guys know, when we have to do bug fixes, the entire team has to wear the fireman outfit.
That's great. And then we've got Jamie Sutherland bobbleheads looking at them.
Wow.
Okay, on to more serious and interesting topics, because I definitely did not bring Ian and Jamie here to talk about firemen and Hub Pages and my personal frustrations. So, just a little bit of background. I don't know how many of you actually took the time to read the extremely detailed description that I put in for this week's Hangout. But this is what prompted this very Hangout. I got an email from Jamie with what I felt was a very interesting update on what's going on at Xero, and I thought, you guys should come and tell the world about it. So I'm not going to say much more than that. We all know who these guys are. We all love who these guys are. Jamie, Ian, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to pass the ball to you, and I'm going to have you kind of just tell us what's going on with Xero. Ian and I, just very quickly, one more thing. We're recently together in San Diego. Had a great time with you down there, Ian, presenting for what was it again? It was the San Diego Bookkeeping Network Association.
Yep.
And we presented on Xero. The topic, the focal point was reporting. So we've got some really interesting things happening with the reporting parts of Xero. Looking forward to seeing and hearing more about that. Take it away, guys.
Okay. Well, thanks, and thanks for having us. I think we did one of these. It was probably over a year ago, and the office we were in was a shared desk location. So I know I'm seeing all these familiar faces that have been with us and seen us through this journey, but I feel like we've passed the initial entry phase, and now we're hitting that acceleration phase, and things are starting to click. Just a few numbers on Xero, where we're at. We're close to 150 employees across the U.S. now, with the majority of those in San Francisco, which is our U.S. headquarters. We've got offices in Denver, in New York, and Los Angeles. and the Denver team is building considerably. We've got sales and support there, but also our IT operations, and we're actually moving into a new office in a couple of months there with the expansion. So I know most of you guys know the story, but you know, we've surpassed 330,000 customers. That's what's our last quoted number globally. Most of those are outside the U.S., as you know, and we're really hitting stride in Australia. That's taking off, and the prospects of owning that market are in sight. And then UK is actually starting to accelerate, which is great. And then we made a good groundwork and laid the foundation here in the US. Lots of money in the bank for us, so we've got great investors around us, as you know, Peter Thiel, one of them, and then some other hedge funds to help with the money side of things. And the goal is to deploy that money and use it for growth in the US. So over 200 million. So we're cash, lots of cash in the bank, and feeling pretty good about that.
The 330,000 was worldwide, or was that U.S. based?
That's worldwide.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
And then we just announced a couple months ago, which is exciting for us here in the U.S. And while we are a public company in Australia and New Zealand, duly listed on both of those exchanges, we've announced the potential for a listing on the NASDAQ or the NYSE at some point next year. And that depends on a number of factors, but we have made an announcement there's an intention there. So that's pretty exciting for us. And the reason is, you know, one of the reasons is, you know, we're about to surpass 100 million in revenues, which is a good sign of growth. And then the rate that we're doing that is also very good compared to our peers and others that are in our market. So it's just so you guys know, the business is doing great, and we're excited. I think you know, those are the numbers, but the fact of the matter is we love what we're doing. We feel like we're solving real problems for small businesses and accountants. We love the model, and I think, as you know, we spend a lot of time working with accountants and helping them get up and running in the cloud, and then really partnering with them. And that flows from the software to our business model and how we operate. We make money when our accountants are, you know, they're growing their businesses. So it's really aligned in a partnership with our accounting channel. And that's why, well, one of the reasons we've been so successful globally, and we're doing that as well here in the U.S. Some of the bigger things that have been happening, we've been spending some time with some major partnerships. And one of our challenges in the U.S. is we're just not famous enough. Most people recognize small business accounting. They think of QuickBooks. And but I think we've made a ton of headway in the last little while, over the last couple of years, where we want to associate Xero with QuickBooks for the masses. Like, I know in our inner circles and the people we know understand that Xero is a great product and a great alternative to QuickBooks, but the masses are still unaware. So leveraging some of these partnerships, not only from a brand standpoint, but you know, accessing and working with them on their customer base and going to market together definitely helps. So some of the names, you know, Constant Contact was a recent announcement. So they have, they're a public company, over 500,000 customers. We did a deal with Square not long ago. We've signed agreements with City National Bank, which is a West Coast bank here based in Los Angeles, but they have branches all over California. Silicon Valley Bank, another one where we're getting direct feeds in from them, and then you know, another one which we can chat about if anyone's interested is H&R Block, and they selected our software after doing a full review of what's out in the market for their franchises to use for their bookkeeping services.
Actually, Jamie, if I could stop you there,
yep.
I want to ask you about that, because, you know, I doubt you necessarily saw it, but when that news was announced, we had a whole hangout talking about that, and frankly, we were wondering where the benefit to Xero was in that, because when I think of H&R Block, I think of people doing people's personal returns. I wouldn't think, like, it came as a surprise, to be honest. So is this an indication that H&R Block, and I guess what I've now learned more recently, H&R Block has now launched their small business division, where they are actually doing bookkeeping. So are they exclusively using Xero then to provide those bookkeeping services for their clients?
That's exactly right. Yeah, they've always had a small business services division. I just don't think there has been as much focus on it. So they were ramping that up, and they were looking for software to be the backbone of that team. And with all the research they did, they selected Xero. So we're really happy about that, and another stamp of approval. So it's essentially, and the way I look at it is it's benefit for everybody. The more people using Xero, I think the more customers are on Xero, and those that are providing great services are going to be the ones that win in the long term. And we treat H&R Block similar to any of our other platinum partners and how we go to market with them. So it's just a great partnership from a brand standpoint, but we would treat them the same way we would any of our other partners.
I have a comment on that. A friend of mine is a H&R Block franchise holder, and he was saying that I guess the people that work there, or some of those people become Xero advisors. My take on it was, since I do both taxes and Xero, that it would be an opportunity for me, because I think of most of the people at H&R Block, I'm not sure about the small business centers, but they're seasonal, and a lot of them are enrolled agents who aren't really that crazy about doing bookkeeping or accounting. So I thought, well, geez, if I could get the Xero portion of it, why couldn't I get the tax portion of it?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's I mean, from our perspective, it's a good thing. I think we did get some comments on the blog around, how does this is going to compete with us, but to be honest, the majority of our partners that's fine. It doesn't make a difference. I'm still running the way I'm running. I've got lots of opportunity. I know what I'm doing, and it's more customers that are going to come onto Xero that is good for our entire ecosystem. So we'll see how it goes, but at the end of the day, it's excellent for our brand. I mean, to have a company with the longevity and recognition of H&R Block, I know there's questions around their brand and where they're at with that, but it's just, for us, it's just a huge stamp of approval.
And you also mentioned, on a slightly different topic, you said you had 150 employees. Is that in U.S. or globally?
Yes. I think the last global number was close to 800.
Okay, and then for those who are interested, because I know I can't stand my boss, are there career opportunities? How do I apply for a job with Xero?
We're hiring like mad, so Xero.com/careers. I think across every discipline we're probably hiring, and sales, marketing, we've got senior roles, we've got junior roles, there's development, front-end design, QA, support, you name it, we're hiring. So that money is being put to good use, and one of the things we're doing with it is building a world-class team. We're not shy about saying that we think this is an enormous opportunity, and it just comes back to, we love what we do, and the DNA of people at Xero, hopefully you feel this, is we're just passionate about what we're doing, and that's the starting point for anyone that joins, is really have to believe in the mission, and this can actually change the lives of small businesses.
Well, and everybody, in my testimonial about you guys, is you all seem to have a lot of fun. Not just like, I know we're flashing the A's against the Angels, but everywhere I've gone, it seems like everyone's smiling from Xero.
Yeah.
So everywhere they're presenting. So.
That's
And
great.
for those of you who haven't noticed or looked at it already, in the description of the Hangout, I put a link to the PDF that Jamie sent me with some really interesting information about the kind of stuff that Jamie's talking about. I think it's worth noting, because Jamie mentioned the growth of Xero so far in terms of revenues, that it has taken, it looks like, 8 years to reach that $100 million mark, right? Yeah. Which is pretty impressive compared to other companies. And so how many more years to reach 1 billion?
Oh, a year and a half, maybe.
There you go. I love it.
I'm a pessimist, maybe 2.
Hard to say. We're just going to keep working hard, and it will. I think that's going to come. Obviously, we have a plan and we have a goal. Our stated goal was 1 million customers, and we didn't actually have a date associated with that, but we feel like that's a good target to reach. But that's well in sight now. We're now at 330 was the last posted number, and that was I think a couple months ago. So it keeps rolling in, which is a lot of fun.
The interesting thing to note there is we don't have our sights set on 1 billion. We have our sights set on 1 million customers. So we're really concerned and really focused on the customer side of the equation, not necessarily about the money.
And obviously, focusing on the customers, the money will follow. So that's
exactly right.
That's actually exactly how we look at it at School of Bookkeeping. Is we look at how many subscribers do we want to acquire and in what period of time. So
that's why you've got my 6 Google accounts, right?
Yeah. so we count that 6 times just to make our numbers look better.
So the only other thing I was going to mention from that email I sent out, which is great initiative that we're doing, is it's called Accelerate, and it goes beyond, for those that have attended a Xero, intro event. It's more around how to build your practice, grow your practice, and you actually leave that event with a business plan on how to take it to the next level. And the instructors for that are not internal instructors, and our internal instructors would do a great job, but we've actually got Steve Cheney and Bruce Phillips, who are 2 of our platinum partners that have been using Xero and running their practice in the cloud for some time now, to actually show how this can be done, how you can make more money, how you can save money, and benefit from being online. And we're running that over the next couple of months. I think there's 11 cities that we're going to, mostly on the West Coast. Yeah, so I just wanted to pass that on if you weren't aware of it, and it's at xero.com/accelerate, and all the details are there.
Okay, and is that's different from XeroCon, which you said you're planning for next year, right?
That's correct. XeroCon is our annual, well, it's not annual, but I guess our full-scale event, where we'll do it in San Francisco here, where the planning is underway for that. I think I mentioned we're looking at the spring, so we haven't finalized the actual location and all the details, but we're looking at as a good time frame for us to launch this. But maybe Ian can talk a bit more about that, because I know he's got his he's been working on that.
Yeah,
so that's have it at Ian's house.
That's it, my job. Yeah, well, we were going to have it at my house, but it turns out, after the last event having 400 people, I don't think I could stack 400 people in here. And everything seems to double whatever we do, so I've got to get a bigger house. So Jamie, can you pay me more so I can get a bigger house and I can have everybody over?
You see this bobblehead going here, okay?
Actually, isn't the bobblehead going this way? So I've instructed everyone to keep quiet about XeroCon. So I'm gonna claim the 5th, but I will let you know that we are planning it. We are going to be announcing it. Our details of what's coming up, probably within the next 2 to 4 weeks. We've got this company that's about 30 miles down the road that watches everything we do. So we try to avoid tipping our hat too much, because it's like playing whack-a-mole with these guys. So we want to make sure that we're able to get the best stuff out to you guys. So it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of just making sure we get the right venue and everything locked down. But it's coming soon.
Yeah. So if it seems kind of cagey, it's for competitive reasons. That's what. Just understood.
So it looks like Stacy's going to the Accelerate.
Stacy Philbin?
Heading to San Diego.
Ooh, my hometown.
I moved here. It's my hometown now, too.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Wow.
Yes.
She moved there just to go to Accelerate.
I did. I did. And living by the beach isn't so bad.
Yeah, San Diego's beautiful.
I moved from Stockton, like a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer.
If you're in Los Angeles too.
If you go where I grew up in San Diego, which is East County, then it feels just like Stockton. So you're not too far away.
It's not that bad. Not that far east. But it's lovely. I love it.
All right, so what are we looking at 4th quarter, guys? What's happening with Xero? What's happening with the reporting engine? What do we see? What have we already seen?
You want to cover that, Jamie, or you want me to?
That's product. I think I'll give the high level, and maybe.
I'm working on it.
Screen share if you can, and
Yeah, I think the product is our number one priority. It always has been, and we think it's the key behind this. The success. One of the keys behind the success of our organization. We've gone through a lot of prioritization over the last few months, and. I can tell you, to date, we've invested in the U.S. side of things, and hopefully you've seen some, localizations for the U.S. market, especially around reporting and pulling into GAAP reporting, balance sheet, profit and loss. We're working on a cash flow statement, but yes, I think we can up the level of effort towards the U.S. side of the things, and I'll tell you, with the appointment of our new chair of our board, and being in New York, and the board meetings being some of the board meetings being held here, a lot of the focus of those discussions are around the U.S. and what we're doing. So timelines for these things, never a good idea for us to tell you when they're coming out, because doesn't always go as planned, but I think from a priority standpoint, reporting absolutely is front and center, and so we're amping up that effort. There's stuff around the payable side and that we want to fix up and make a little bit easier, so we're working on that. And then some other things. I think we've announced this. But Ian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we hear comments around job costing and inventory, which are kind of tied together. And then there's the quoting piece of it and all that. So I think we know for sure what's the priority. It was just a matter of getting it done and making sure it's prioritized. So I think that kind of summarizes. I know that's not a it's not a detailed response, and I should say the other piece of it is payroll. So I know we've launched that very early version of payroll, but we're continuing to work on that. And our entire dev team here in San Francisco is payroll. So I don't know. If you add anything else to that, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, some proof points were e-file for federal e-file and payroll went out just recently. A lot of efforts also been placed on the California stuff. So those, even though they do root for Anaheim, get the love. To my chagrin. What you talked about before, we've been pretty transparent about where we've been going. So if you've been following us, we still have to do some of the horizontal parts of the job, which receipts, quotes, and inventory, light inventory. So those are all being actively worked on and coming to Xero sometime soon in the near future. Reporting, we've actually, and this is some of the stuff we talked about in San Diego, Seth and I, we've actually rolled out our new reporting framework inside the product and iteratively adding the reports as we go. And so we've done AR and AP, so you can actually see that, but we're going and redoing all of the reports throughout the application. And that allows us to also provide customization and personalization within those, but then stages it for balance. We talked about statement of cash flows, but and then our next delivery of reports, which is just mind-blowing, which is coming out sometime next calendar year probably. When we talk about other things, we've heard a lot of folks maybe in this audience as well. A lot of requests around helping with bulk jobs. So a lot of you processing lots of transactions. So we've got a bunch of stuff that we've been working on there that's going to come out soon. And then we've done things like try to make it easier to work with lists and so forth. So we had launched Smart Lists just recently. And then one that's true to my heart, being from where I came from originally, is we've now let you self-service QuickBooks conversions straight within the application. So you just send up a file and you get yourself a Xero organization with all the history in it. So
that's awesome. That's a great tool you guys added. Yep.
I have a question on reports. There was a company, Expanded Reports, that unfortunately failed, but they had some really nice features like being able to do calculated fields and do pivot tables within the product. I'm just wondering, are you going to have that kind of functionality in the rolled out reports, or is that a goal, or is that?
Pivot tables, maybe not so much, because those become quite a bit daunting, and I would say actually add-on partners do that really, really well. However, being able to do your own formulas, being able to manage your own columns of data and rows and so forth, and be able to add things in there, definitely in the spec of what we're delivering. That's the reason for the framework underneath it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the background in Access, and you would do a lot of report. You wouldn't keep the data in the database, but you'd have it in the query, so you could. The formula, so you could still produce reports.
Yep. So the end goal there is to is allow for, in a given report, to be able to expand the different types of data that would be able to work with the database structure. So instead of us keeping you away from it, allowing you access to it so you can change those reports properly, but then allowing you to do your own formula calculations off of what data is available for that report type. Some type of data doesn't make sense to actually have in a report. So if you're doing a list of customers, for instance, some of the financials wouldn't make sense there. But that is ultimately where we're headed, and you'll see it as each one of these goes out. A bit more of that functionality is placed in. So that's going to be a continual rollout that you're going to see, and more stuff is added on each release.
Well, the thing I like about Xero is that when it comes out, it works as opposed to sort of being involuntary beta testers and having to have fixes, come back.
Yeah, we don't believe in the philosophy. As someone had mentioned to me before, it's the Apple philosophy of being eye-pimped, which is when the first version comes out, you are ultimately screwed. We put it through a lot of. For us, it's about quality and it's about how to make beautiful accounting. If you can't put a smile on somebody's face, and that's the first time you touch it, we failed miserably. So again, no, we don't do that. And again, with 330,000 customers, it's more than that. You just to deal with that sort of support headache, we don't want to. Nobody wants to. And again, it's about doing the right thing, and sometimes it takes a bit more time, which is why Jamie says we don't quote on the when it's going to go out. But we've been really close on almost everything when we've talked about dates. So
I do have one final question on
Yep.
Conversions. I know with QuickBooks Desktop to QBO, sometimes there's hiccups. I'm just wondering, with the new Xero conversion tool, can you actually convert QBO data to Xero?
Yeah, so
Transactional data?
Yeah, it's a two-part question there. So yes, you can. However, you have to, from QBO, move it to the QBXML format. So just like you'd move it to an accountant's copy, sort of pseudo copy that you bring in the desktop. That's what we have to have because you have to post a file to us. And so we now accept that protocol. So basically, there's directions on in the Xero help about how to get the QBO file to us. But yes, we do that and we process everything there. We do ask though that you once you do the QBO conversion, you go back and you check your key reports back to what's in QBO, because QBO has had some issues on its own conversion processes to desktop, which we cannot account for. Right. And that happens not a lot of the times, but it does happen a few times, and we don't believe in any sort of data integrity issues, so we always want to double check on that with QBO specifically.
But that's transactional data as just opposed to list data?
It's all the history, yep.
Okay.
How far back? How far back? Like if I have a company, well, for QBO, actually, I could have a company that went back 10 years. How far back will the data come in?
We only accept back this current year and the prior year, and the reason is the further you go back, the problem with all of the transactions within Intuit's products become more and more cagey. If you need more, then you reach out to your account manager, and we can go further back for you.
Yeah, I think the answer is it's completely free to convert your data from QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online for current year and then 1 year prior, all transaction history. If you want more than that, I mean, we recommend that you don't need to have more than that. You just keep it in your old software or put it into desktop if it's from online and just leave it there. But if you want more, then it comes at a cost. It's a bit of work, and so but we believe it's enough to get current year and 1 year prior.
Right, and speaking as an accountant / CFO who works with a lot of companies, I can say that I would agree. You don't really need to go back more than 2 years because, as Ian pointed out, going back beyond that from a data standpoint, you're going to get more garbage, so to speak, and just from an analytical standpoint, I don't really care what happened more than 2 years ago. I'm really only looking at the past year, and when I'm doing projections, in fact, I'm usually just doing a 6-month rolling average, so that's really about as far back as I ever care to go. I mean, yeah, if you want an entire customer history to see that, you can dump your detailed reports into Excel and keep it there, and run pivot tables, right? And then I can do pivot tables all day on my historical data that I put in Excel, and I can see all my customers and how much sales I had with them and what they bought and whatever I need. So I totally agree with that thinking.
Yeah, the whole rationale was we tried to figure out what people wanted, and that's what they wanted. And when you start to take heavy amounts of data, it comes at a cost, and we wanted to keep it free. So that's the whole background on that.
And you should charge for anything further than that. That makes sense as a business. Yeah.
I was on a phone call with Avalara on a webinar, and I broached the question, well, is this going to work with Xero? And they said they were very desirous of working with Xero, and so I think you got my email that I forwarded on to you. I'm just wondering, are you going to be working with Avalara? Because especially with this, Economic Fairness Act is kind of working its way through Congress with sales tax. I mean, that's going to be a big issue.
Yeah. You want me to cover that one, Jamie?
Sure.
So the thing with Avalara is we've been in conversations with them. We've been working with them. We don't do inventory in the app currently, and so most of the load for sales tax calculations happens usually through a lot of the add-ons that we work with, like the point of sale systems and the like. It becomes more and more interesting once we start doing the underlying inventory management, so you can do lightweight, commerce or so forth through the app. And so we want to be doing that pairing when it makes sense, when we have more of the horizontal pieces done. But again, the API extensions that they want, we've been working with them on, and it's just a matter of time. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, got real quiet there.
It got uncomfortably quiet. Do I need to bring the ball back out?
Where's that ball? Yeah, bounce the ball.
Sales tax will do that to people.
I'm just going to keep my egregious product promotion here in the corner.
Now, you guys have some interesting programs for people like those of us who are right here on this live panel, right? For accountants to get certified in Xero, to really use Xero as a central product to be able to service our own clients with. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, I know it's been around for a while now, but anything new to tell us about that program, or just in general, because there might be people watching or who will watch this after the fact that don't know about it. So, let me summarize the question by putting it like this: what's in it for the accountant?
Do you want me to take that one, Ian?
Hey, we're going to do pass the ball. So here's the ball.
Yeah, gotcha. Didn't make it. Where do I start? I mean, there's lots. I guess let's see the key things, key benefits. I'll start with the product. So there is an accounting console, if you will, for an accountant to manage their clients on Xero and make it very easy to dive into any organization or small businesses that you're doing bookkeeping or accounting for, anywhere, anytime, on the fly, any device. That's the premise of being able to collaborate on the go. And then on top of that, what many may not be aware of, we do have a practice management tool as well. So that is actually provided free to our accounting partners that have 25 clients or more, and that integrates to Xero. So you actually can do your practice management, again, all cloud-based, and then it all connects to your Xero accounting.
Is that like a CRM practice management, or is that what you mean? Yeah.
It goes straight from quote
Office Tools Pro or something?
Similar, but it's actually very robust.
I use Workflow Max, which I think we were talking about, and I really love it. The only thing is, it looks like you can almost do job costing in Workflow Max. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes. So that is what it is. Workflow Max is the company we acquired, and we essentially split it off into Workflow Max for construction or ad agencies, any kind of time-based sort of companies to use. And so there's a brand called Workflow Max that's tailored to that, and the product roadmap is focused on those kind of verticals. And then we split off Xero Practice Manager, which was the basis of Workflow Max is now Practice Manager, but we're going to build that into more of an accountant-centric tool to run your practice, which it already is, but we'll add more and more features to it to benefit accountants. So that's from the product side. I think that's the biggest thing. We also have work papers. Our sense, I don't know if anybody's using it, but our sense is that's not really fit for purpose in the U.S. market, at least the early feedback we've got, but we'd be open to those that are using it or are interested. It's another product that we provide free depending on the number of organizations that you have on Xero. So that's the product side. I think from a account management side, I think no one is even close to us in terms of support. We are, as I've told you, the program and our business is designed around working with accountants. So not only does every accountant get a dedicated account manager by name that you can call up and ask questions, we've also got what we call partner enablement specialists. So any partner has more technical questions, implementation questions, we can help them get up and running, and then we've got a full scale support team from an ongoing basis. So we're absolutely dedicated to the success of accountants, and I think we do a good job of that. And at least the feedback I've gotten so far is we do a great job of that. So that feels pretty good. And then the program, there's a whole slew of other benefits that come along with it. On our partner page, at least, I think there's like 30 other benefits, and we probably can do a better job of making this more clear to our partners of some of the benefits that you get. So, for example, we do co-marketing, and we'll help run events for you and help market your business and provide material and actually co-fund certain things, and that's probably not highlighted as well as it could be. So I don't have the list in front of me, but I think it's Xero.com/partners, and you'll find the details, and there's a whole program table there that goes through that, and I can send it around after on this hangout, so everybody's got access to it.
That'd be great. That would be great. I think that'd be a great thing for us to have. I went through the partner training, of course. Then I, what do you call it? What's the word? I procrastinated. I still haven't taken the exam to actually get the certification done, but I will, and we are working on a course upcoming for Xero once I finish rolling out the courses. I have 2 courses rolling out simultaneously at schoolofbookkeeping.com. Once those are done, I'm going to start getting on some Xero content in schoolofbookkeeping.com. And I will say this, Ian has been tremendous about making sure that it was clear to me that I had all the support I needed in even doing that. So, so thank you for that. We all get those. I can definitely incorporate them into my course videos, and then we can bring them to QuickBooks Connect and see what happens. Just kidding.
That'll go over well.
But the balls will bounce.
Did you put that in your blog there, Seth?
How fast you're thrown out.
Maybe that's why you got booted.
Not yet. Yeah, they're going to kick me out of the VIP 40 for saying that. Just kidding. I love both companies. So anyway, but that's great stuff. Anything else? We have about 5 or 10 minutes left. What else is going on at Xero that we don't know about that you can tell us about? And one thing on that.
We're open to any questions, but I'd love to hear any feedback, positive or negative. I think it's always good for us to hear what's going on in the market, whether it's related to the product or otherwise about the company. We'd love to hear it.
Well,
okay. I can start with that, but before I do, 2 things I want to actually bring up. First of all, those of you who are watching, post your comments or questions right there on the page if you haven't joined us live, and I'll refresh my page and check in a minute. That's number 1. Number 2, speaking of things that you can or can't tell us about, I learned something very interesting, actually, and I think you guys can attest to and or confirm this, is that when you're a public company, you have to be very careful about what you tell people about in terms of features that are rolling out, because people could wind up subscribing to you based on their expectation that a feature is coming out, and then if it doesn't, you would actually, for GAAP purposes, I know at least, would have to restate your revenues and probably refund a lot of money to a lot of people if it didn't come out timely. So that's important, I think, for people to understand in terms of if you're wondering why they can't tell us about everything, that's why.
I would say, though, coming from where I used to work before, we're a lot more transparent and a lot more giving, because we want to make sure that accounting professionals are aware of what's coming down the pipeline, because you don't want to be caught flat-footed. So we try as much as we can, but we just don't state actual dates.
Right. Okay, so now feedback, because I have some specific feedback, because I've actually been doing some one-on-one trainings with clients in Xero, so I've run into a few things that have come up. So one of the things is, and I think, Ian, if I remember correctly, we talked about this in San Diego, the cost codes, I guess, or the account numbers, if you will. One of the things that has always driven me crazy about account numbers is after a while I start running out of space. So if I want to keep it organized and have 1s for the assets and 2s for the liabilities and so on, I start running out of space and it drives me crazy, which fine, if I have to, I have to, and I can deal with that. But then in the drop-down when I'm in Xero, when I'm trying to find an account number, well, that's just it. There is no drop-down. I have to put the account number in, and then it tells me if it's available or not. It would be so much easier if I could actually see the list from within that dialog and be able to see what's available that way rather than having to fumble around and testing and seeing.
I have a workaround for you, which doesn't answer that good product suggestion, which is when you're on the chart of account screen, export the chart of accounts,
right,
and it will dump it all into Excel with all the numbers listed. So that's the hokey workaround for today, but I hear you on that one. That's a good suggestion, especially on the ad.
Yeah. That's one thing. I'm going to let somebody else talk because otherwise I'll just do all the talking. Anybody else have questions or feedback or comments?
I have a question. Can you say a little bit more about the new App Store, or the new? Because I saw that in the blog. It was, like we've talked about on this Hangout, the holy grail for the cloud software is inventory and job costing, and once that happens, the desktop's probably going to go away. But right now, it doesn't have the functionality. So that's why. Are you envisioning that your partners will provide that support in terms of Xero not having to actually develop the job costing or the inventory and rely on the partners or the third-party developers?
Yeah, our ecosystem of add-on partners is absolutely part of our proposition to the market, and we've got some amazing partners that go very deep in certain, whether it's functionality or specific verticals targeting specific types of businesses. Will do way more than that we'll ever do, and we're kind of like this horizontal application, we call it. At least cover off the basis of the main pieces of accounting and a little bit beyond that you need to do. But if you're looking for deeper functionality, even inventory, I think we all know it's a big hairy beast, and depending on how you build it and where you go, it's a huge journey. And there will be other partners, absolutely, in my view, that will solve that way better than we will. We'll have some sort of capability to do that for the majority of clients, but when you start asking for more and more features, I think they've got a product roadmap that's dedicated to that. So yeah, you've got applications out there right now that are outstanding that solve inventory. Unleashed is one that is on our add-on program. There's Stitch Labs that covers multi-channel inventory. I mean, these are robust applications, and they all seamlessly integrate to Xero. So you now have the beauty of data flowing back and forth seamlessly, and there's no headaches between the two applications. So we strongly believe that what we've got and what we've built, this open ecosystem, is a huge differentiator for us. And we think that small businesses win when you've got these innovative companies all working together to solve problems. And we think that's a bit different than the way Intuit is going after the market, and they're acquiring companies and kind of dictating that this is how you run your business. At least that's our perception of what Intuit is doing versus. We think all small businesses are different, so there has to be a way to tailor to each of those different small businesses. It's not a uniform sort of setup. Obviously, there are core applications like a general ledger that has to be it's very similar across the board, but then when you get into line of business applications, it's very specific to that type of business, and we strongly believe that some of our add-on partners are excellent at solving that problem. We want to make sure that we package it up and we actually help educate the market on what applications are great depending on what kind of business you are, but we don't dictate that this is the way that you should run your business.
Why not? I want to know how to run my business. Okay, all right, so two more things, and then we got to run because it's 9 o'clock. So one more piece of feedback. When I'm in the match transactions area of Xero, and I want to go create the transaction because it doesn't already exist and there's no existing match. In that summary drop-down, I can't add a new account. I have to go to add details, and then in that account drop-down, I can add a new account. And it took me a while to realize that. For a while, I thought I can't add a new account from there. So I don't know. Ian's reacting, so let me just let you take the ball.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, that's not beautiful accounting. And it's on a list that I just went through yesterday of things that annoy the hell out of me. And it's currently in the bug fix list to change that, because again, you need to be doing it at the point of need. It's just not there. So.
Well, it's not clear. Yeah, if there were even some instruction that says, "Hey, go to add details," and you can add a new, something that made that. Because I fumbled on it for like a good 20 minutes with a client before I said, "Well, let's check add details," and then sure enough, there it was.
The problem was the team that was working on that did not have the Magnetiles, nor did they have the Jamie bobblehead. So this is what happens when you don't institute the proper processes internally across the organization. But we've learned.
Okay. And last question, and maybe the most important, of course, is until schoolofbookkeeping.com has its course on Xero, where's the best place for me to go to learn about how to use Xero?
Yes, so we just launched our Xero TV and Xero, some of our coursework there. So you can just go to Xero TV and you can learn about the basics of using Xero. And again, that's just xero.com/Xero TV. Jamie, other insights?
With Xero.com/events. There's intro events. There's educational events on how to run your practice. There's events or webinars on specific features or integrations, and we'll be continuing to develop that. I think where we want to get to is a true educational journey for small businesses and accountants to get started on Xero and all the way through to being very productive and profitable.
Excellent.
Cool. So, and the bottom line is, and I ask those questions, of course, because I know that's what people are looking for, but if you just go to Xero.com, the website's put together really well. It's really easy from there to kind of find what you need and looking for. I mean, there's a split where it says the accountant for the business owner, am I right? It's pretty clear to follow where to go to get what.
That's correct.
All right, boys and girls, so I don't see any more questions in the virtual peanut gallery here. I'm looking. I'll do one more refresh.
Well, there was a good question from Stacy about getting clients to convert to the cloud.
Yeah, so I saw that up there. So in terms of, there's two different ways to look at it. If you have existing clients, you should deal with the existing clients and what's right for them. And obviously, if they have a propensity to go to the cloud, then that's an easy one. For new clients coming in, for a lot of small businesses, they are having an underlying problem that they need to have solved. So my point on that one is you need to have that exploratory discussion with them on what they're trying to accomplish and how the relationship's going to be. The latter part of that conversation is the technology, but the reality is how you're going to set up that arrangement and engagement beforehand, and then the tools that you use are what you're going to prescribe to them, and those tools could be of various different types. With security and other things of that nature, the thing, for us as Xero, we're more secure than online banking. Again, you don't have this situation of moving money or any of the sensitive information in there, so that's really not a concern. We've never been hacked. We've never had a data breach. We've never lost any data, and our uptime is world class at 99.99%. So we're always up, always on, and your data is always secure. So it's part of just explaining a little bit of the assurances they need to know, but then secondly, it's about putting the right tool in front of them, and it may or may not be Xero, but it's what's right for them overall.
Great. Funny story I want to share with you about this topic in question. I recently got on the phone with a guy. I spent about a half an hour on the phone with him, no joke, talking with him about how he's an artist, he sells paintings, and he wants to, get better about using accounting software. And we're going on and on for about a half hour, and then finally he tells me that the computer that he uses that has his accounting software on it does not have any connection to the internet, and he wanted to know if that was going to be important. So not only doesn't he want to go to the cloud, he doesn't even want his desktop connected to the internet where his accounting data is.
I have one of those clients.
I was just like, I just wasted a half an hour on the phone with this guy. I can't help him.
Right.
So
that's a good candidate for QuickBooks.
You can't even use QuickBooks that way because you need to be able to download the updates.
No. You get the first version of it. You just got to work through all the bugs.
That's great. Hey, guys, I got to jump to a staff meeting. Great presentation. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Tim. Thank you, guys. And we'll see you all next week, Friday morning, 8 a.m. sharp, with another amazing hangout. Jamie, Ian, thank you so much for taking the time out and
Thanks,
joining.
guys.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.